Minimax then are gridding themselves up. Leon Barlow will be on pole position with Oliver Fabricius alongside. Jared Fox-Whiteley and Lewis Goff, after they're coming together in heat number 3, we'll see them start side by side on the second row. Ben Horner and Sonny Morgan share row number 3. Ben Adrian will start 7th alongside Callum Foster, with Freddie Lyne and Jack Burgess on row 5. Taz Groom starts the final from P11. So that's 2 finals in, with 1 more to go. Having a quick look into the live chat comment. Hayden Taylor's done, sent unlucky Toby, got done there and then pipped at the line. He tried to get the cut back by 0.5 of a second for that final step on the podium. Minimax then, sorry, making their way round the far end of the circuit, which now, given how late we are into the day at 5:10, is in the shade down there. Probably the only part of the track that's actually seen any shade all day. But that back straight down there, the Spitfire straight into the braking zone at the Dell, the only part of the track now that is under the cover of the overhanging trees, with the sun starting to move down that far end of the circuit. Into the tram lines they go though. Watch for the green flag dropping. It does, and we're away and racing. And Barlow comes across on Fabricius, and it's Fox-Whiteley with the move from the second row. He's managed to get past Fabricius, who was eager to get past Leon Barlow, but then just didn't get the drive out into the corner. And Jared Fox-Whiteley sweeps around the outside and into second place. So now it's Leon Barlow leading the way from Jared Fox-Whiteley, with Oliver Fabricius and Lewis Goff, your top 4. As they head onto the hanger straight for the first time. Sonny Morgan going with them as well. Started in 6th place, now up into 5th as the train of carts makes their way down the back straight towards the Raymond's hairpin, and Leon Barlow continuing to lead as he has done from that pole position berth, with Jared Fox-Whiteley in 2nd place. Then there's a move down the inside there by Lewis Goff, up into 3rd place. Oliver Fabricius drops down into 4th. Good move from Goff, had that one lined up pretty much as soon as he exited the hook, just put the cart on the left-hand side and just knew that that overtake was coming, trusted his own judgment. So Barlow leading the way, more support coming in for not only him, but all of his ex-kart racing team. A few of them there in the background as well, from Lucas Blanford in the live chat. So they make their way round the Raymond's hairpin. Barlow, then it's Fox-Whiteley, then Goff as well in the background, coming through right on the back now with Jared Fox-Whiteley. Will he once again move to the inside? He does, as they head down towards Surtees. They're side by side. Are they going to come out side by side? No, Lewis Goff is through and into 2nd place. So now Leon Barlow is going to have to see whether he can hold back Lewis Goff. And Goff is already right onto the back of Leon Barlow. They head down the hanger straight in the slipstream. Barlow has a look over his shoulder. Goff as well is still there. The top 5 though, with Sonny Morgan, in the 28, sticking with them in his first Cadet Kart Championship outing. And Barlow goes to the outside. Goff is down the inside at Surtees, and Lewis Goff is through and into the lead. Great overtake from, once again, had that one lined up from the exit of the hook, moved to the inside and through into the lead goes Lewis Goff. So it's Goff, Barlow and Fox-Whiteley, your top 3. Fabricius and Morgan going with them before a gap back then to Ben Horner in 6th place, who's coming under pressure from Ben Adrian. We'll see them flash through the screen there. They are nose to tail. Looks like Adrian could actually be in front now, as there's a move from Jared Fox-Whiteley down the inside, and Fabricius is going to come through and takes advantage as well. Sonny Morgan gets alongside Leon Barlow, and Barlow could drop down into 5th place and does, as Sonny Morgan in the 28 comes through as well. So as Fox-Whiteley went down the inside, there was just no space for Leon Barlow to rejoin. And he drops from 2nd place down into 5th. Plenty of time though remaining for Barlow in this one. He's still got well over half race distance, plus that 1 lap to get himself back into the mix for a podium. As it stands though, it's Goff, Fox Whiteley and Fabricius, your top 3. Sonny Morgan though would love to cap a first weekend of racing in the JKC with a podium. You see him there in the blue and yellow machine. 6 minutes remaining. And Lewis Goff has started to open up a gap of around about 0.8 of a second back to Jared Fox Whiteley on that previous lap. Was 0.3 of a second quicker as Morgan tries to get a run out of the corner, which then is compromised and allows Leon Barlow to close back up. He tried to get to the inside of Fabricius for 3rd place. Tyre management now is going to be key for Lewis Goff, as he got that car, as he's been very, very quick in the early phase of this race. But it's whether there's enough left in the tyres for Lewis Goff. Opens up another 0.3 of a second to Jared Fox Whiteley. The gap now 1.1. Behind Fabricius, Morgan and Barlow are nose to tail for the final step on the podium as it stands. As we approach half race distance, it's whether any of these drivers have got anything in reserve to sort of just to start with, to see if they can catch up on Goff. But it's another 2.5 from Lewis Goff. 1/4 of a second a lap at the moment. He is quicker than anybody else. His best time of 45.05. Behind that, the next quickest I think is Sonny Morgan in 4th place with a 45.2. So Goff with superb pace so far here at Llandow. And with every lap, he's just opening the gap up to Jared Fox Whiteley, who at the moment is holding a comfortable 2nd. There's a few kart lengths back, but not close enough for Oliver Fabricius to even consider an overtake. Down the inside goes Sonny Morgan, though. That one takes Fabricius by surprise, and Morgan is through into 3rd place. Barlow as well takes advantage and is through into 4th. So that's going to give Fox Whiteley a bit more respite. He already had a few kart lengths as well, as the gap this time to Goff is fairly similar to what it was on the previous lap. Almost identical lap times between the two of them at 45.2. And there's Leon Barlow going very, very slowly, punching the steering wheel in frustration and rolling off into retirement. Leon Barlow, who had an opportunity to go for a podium, parks the car on the outside of Mac Werther's, jumps over the barrier, and I imagine he's not going to stop walking until he gets back to his awning. Kart there stationary then on the outside of the hairpin at Mac Werther's. The nearest marshal's post is some 50 metres away, so that kart, they should be covered under a localised yellow, but whether we're going to get that kart moved out of the way or whether it's deemed to be safe enough for us to go racing under full green conditions. The kart has actually been rolled all the way up to the barrier, so it looks like we don't have any yellow flags down there, and we are happy and clear in terms of the track being fully green. The gap at the lead though, 1.8 seconds now, as Lewis Goff took an additional 0.4 out on that previous lap and set the fastest lap of the race as well. The only driver in this final to go sub 45 seconds with a 45.956. And who needs this final result after that disappointing 10th place earlier on in the 3rd heat after the coming together with Fox Whiteley. Has just got his head down at the start of this final, and once he's got into the lead from that 2nd row start, has just disappeared off into the distance. Still 2 minutes remaining though, and as we saw with Leon Barlow, plenty can happen and often does in karting. The top 3 though, as it stands, still fairly comfortable, as there's now a fairly big gap back between Sonny Morgan and Oliver Fabricius. In fact, in terms of Fabricius, Ben Adrian appears to be closing in at the rate of around about quarter of a second. There he is in the red cart coming down the back straight in front of the 94 of Jack Burgess with Ben Horner, Freddie Lyons, Callum Foster and Taz Groom, your runners. And there is the 83 of Freddie Lyons making his Minimax debut here. Was, as we mentioned earlier, was signed on for Honda Cadet, in fact, at the start of the weekend, but made the decision to switch to Mini Rotax. He's old enough to make the switch up, and he's going to try and get a move down the inside there of Jack Burgess for 6th place. So Lyons running in front of Ben Horner, Callum Foster and Taz Groom. And right on the back there, you see them bouncing their way through. It's Horner behind, and then Foster a little further back as well, as Lyons makes his way down the hanger straight. 47 seconds remaining, so by all accounts I think we might have another 3 laps. I think they'll get round, and Sonny Morgan has been taking chunks out of Jared Fox-Whiteley on the last 2 laps, and is now right on the back of the 22. 29 seconds remaining. They will get round before the last lap board comes out, I'm certain of it. So it's going to be 2 more laps. And can Sonny Morgan get a good enough run on Jared Fox-Whiteley down this back straight? Fox-Whiteley parks the cart half a width in, maybe just to try and put Morgan off a potential overtaking opportunity, but Morgan gets a good run out of Raymond's up towards the hook. So the time will elapse down to 0 now, which means that next time round will be the last lap board, and this time Morgan noticeably closer to Fox-Whiteley, but elects not to go down the inside of the 22 into Surtees. We'll take a different line round McWhirters, and will once again close up onto the back of Jared Fox-Whiteley. 2.4 seconds though is the gap to your leader Lewis Goff, as he comes through and is holding a comfortable lead now, all being well, in the final minute of this race. Fox-Whiteley holding on to second. Morgan not close enough to make an overtaking opportunity down into the hairpin at Raymond's. Through they come to see that last lap board, and Lewis Goff with a gap of 2.4 seconds in front of Jared Fox-Whiteley and Sonny Morgan will be your podium as it stands. Fabricius is 3.8 back, having dropped away, having run comfortably towards the front in the early phase of this race. Now he's lonely in 4th. Ben Adrian hasn't been able to make inroads. They sort of stopped a few laps ago into Oliver Fabricius, who's in 4th place. Through the Dell then for the final time. Your leader already onto the hanger straight and making his way down towards Raymond. Into the hairpin goes Lewis Goff. He won at GYG. He's going to win at Llandow as well. Lewis Goff takes victory in Minimax from Jared Fox-Whiteley and Sonny Morgan, your top 3 and your podium, with Oliver Fabricius, Ben Adrian and Freddie Lyons coming through for a superb 6th place on debut in front of Jack Burgess, Ben Horner, Callum Foster and Taz Groom, completing your runners in Minimax.